Good evening, everybody. How are you? Did you? You didn't hear me yell, did you? I think I screamed to Robert, who was upstairs, "We're all good," before we went live. Oh, and if you did hear me, I am so sorry. If you had earpods in, you wouldn't be able to hear anything now. You'd have so much ringing in your ears. So I do apologise. Did you switch them, Rob, in the end or not? You didn't switch. There you go. All right, just turn my volume down. Good evening, Louise. Hello, Chris. Hello, Bernadette. Hello, everybody else. Hello, Deb Burt. Thank you for your patience. It was working perfectly before we went in for a quick bite to eat for dinner. It's always the way. It's always the way. Anyway, thanks for that. And good evening, Sylvia. Cecily's here. Francis is in the building as well. So, there is no search word this evening. There is nothing like that. This really is just a catch-up, because I haven't seen you for ages, and a sew-along. There is no hidden agenda, nothing. Not a soft sell, not a hard sell, not a telly-selling, nothing. This is just a catch-up. So I hope you've got your cup of tea. I do not have a cup of tea. I didn't go to plan. Is there water or something over there? Oh, I've got a bottle of water here. That's all right. I'm fine. There's nothing. It's just a catch up, a midweeker. That's it. Good evening, Francis. Yvonne Chapman. Good evening, Sue Mitchell, Lynn Marshall. Aww. Deb, that's not funny. 10 sleeps to go. Please don't. I don't need to know. It's only 10 sleeps. No, it's fine. What Deb is referring to, of course, is it's 10 sleeps to the creative escape. And I'm going to show you in a minute what I'm doing. Good evening, Julie. Sue McGonchie's here. I know who you're sitting with. Marg and I did seating arrangements yesterday and again today. Catherine, good evening. I'm so glad you could join us with Bobby. Hello. Jeanette Warner. Aw. Robin Porteous. Hello. I saw your lovely comment on AQL. Thank you very much. Chris, Glennis, Dell. I had gone AWOL. I was AWOL. Just for a little bit. Petra, hello. Pauline Boyke, good evening. Denise and Julie, hi. So, yeah, so it's just a little bit of a catch-up tonight. Now, we were together last week, and Mother's Day didn't happen. Well, it did happen, but it didn't happen live on Facebook. And we had a lovely day. So, kids, Mum and Dad. Does anyone else, it's not intended for Robert, does anyone else get to about lunchtime on Mother's Day and you've cooked up a storm and you've been really busy all morning, there's a bit of a brow sweep and you go, wait a minute, it's Mother's Day and I'm a mum. What's going on? Did you do that too? Did you cook up a storm so that your kids could come and wish you a happy Mother's Day? I'm not the only one, am I? No, but my mum was here and I wanted to cook for her, so that's just by default that happened. And it was a super day, and we topped it off with a big bonfire, because it's Philip's birthday on the day of the creative escape, and he won't be coming up here for his birthday, well, because we're busy, but also we're going somewhere else for his birthday lunch. So we had a big bonfire, and that finished off the day very nicely. As per usual, pyromaniac, and I come from a long line of pyromaniacs on my mother's side. Once it started dying down, I lost interest. Once it didn't threaten the Fatinia hedge down the bottom of the block or the neighbours or anything else, I moved on. So poor Rob was out there raking it all back in about 2 hours later. But now it's lovely potash, and I'm going to save some of it for my vegetables that like potash. So that's my little self-sufficiency bit. Mothers do what mothers do. Exactly, Pauline. That is correct. Good evening, Louise. Oh, I've said hello to Lou, haven't I? Good evening. Helen Bell, I can see you're here. Cindy's here too. Hello. Glad you could make it. I'm getting head-butted under the table. Ginny is here. She's been very sociable lately when people have come to visit. Compared to the scaredy cat that didn't really like people before we moved up here, she's becoming a little bit of a, welcoming committee. It's quite nice. Now, 10 sleeps. So for those not coming, just bear with us for a minute because it's 10 sleeps. to the Creative Escape. I posted on what was the old Needleworkers Soiree Facebook page, which is now the Creative Escape Facebook page. I posted up the photos today of what Margaret and I are doing, and I should have nabbed Margaret samples for tonight, but maybe I'll show them to you on Sunday. I shall nick them off her so that you can have a look. Aha, Adelaide, that's so funny. Great time for live watching because the kids are at training. Oh, that's so true. Judy, good evening to you. See you next weekend. All right, this is my little project. Now, before you all go, oh, that is so not her. Well, that's right. I always like to do something a little bit not typical of me for our little get-togethers. But this project is the start of something bigger. I've created my own acronym. It's called a WHIP. I'll let you work that out while I show you. Not a weep, a whip. So, oh, where's the camera? There it is. So this is my little project. Now this comes with love and friendship in many ways, because I'm going to show you what's inside first. Jen, will you be quiet? This is my little pumpkin pin cushion, which I love the shape. I mean, it could be a pear as well, but I'm calling it a pumpkin because it's for autumn, and it has a little cork leaf on the top. So if you're coming to the escape, everything is in the kit that you will need except for the stuffing. I'll have walnut shells, you'll have polyfuse at home. Rob, you might need to come and get Miss Jin Jin because she's decided it's day spa time, and it sounds like Christmas in here at the moment with her bell. So we're going to make this little guy. Now this is not my pattern. I actually asked somebody very special if I could please replicate and shrink down by half her pattern. So this is actually Diana's from Costa Rica. And so we've got a little bit of Costa Rica going on at the Creative Escape. So cute. And then we're going to make this little basket to sit it in. So it's quite an unusual shape. It's got a long oval, if you like, or rounded end base to it. Kind of reminiscent of what? A Go-Go Girl bag, something like that. And then we're going to add, as the feature on the outside, some English paper piecing panels here. So these are polygons, but you can see what I have done. I have woven bias through them. So this is this is oh, she's not happy. It's a showtime. These are polygons, and we're leaving little gaps and we're weaving through. This won't be the first time that I'm using this technique, and this is WEP, so it's EPP, but it's woven, so we're calling it WEPP. And I'll be doing this a lot more. There is some of this happening in a new Block of the Month project I'm working on, and some cushion designs and some bags, but this is the start of it. There you go. And it meets around the sides. Yeah. And then we've got a little matching cork handle over the top. So that's what we're going to be doing. So on the day, for those of you that are coming, you'll have Margaret's beautiful stitcheries, and you know how great they are just to pull out and start stitching. And then you'll be able to work on your English paper piecing and your weave, and possibly the stitchery on your panels for your pumpkin. So you'll be able to do all of that on the day, as well as talking and eating, and possibly taking in some retail therapy at our pop-up shops. It's all going to be good fun. Well, that's fine, Nez, because we're not here for a long time. We're just here for a good time tonight. If you can't stay all that long, that's absolutely fine. So, good evening, Jenny Miller. Can't wait for next weekend. Carol, it's lovely to hear from you in a very sunny UK, because, of course, you're kind of about to hit summer, aren't you? Thanks, Barb. Rob will see your message. Rita, good evening. Margaret says 10 more sleeps. So as you can imagine, we're in final preparation stage. I've done a trial of the table decorations today, so I know how they're all going to look. You take the photo, and then we go through and do all 18 tables in one hit next Friday. Marg and I have been down the hall today and checked on all the preparations. Fine, little things. We're back there again next week when we pick up the keys and everything. But today it's like little things, just reconfirming the size of the plates we want to use versus what we're serving for lunch versus what I'm doing for cakes for morning tea. Just a couple of little things, because each time we change the menu, so we need to check on a few little bits. And then next week we'll be down there setting it all up. It'll be really good. So without further ado, I shall put this little baby away. It's like a little boat. I'll put that down here. So I'm working on many things at the moment, and my office has sort of reached a point where I am guilty of coming out here to sew, because every surface is covered in very important things that I'm working on. But one thing I wanted to show you tonight that I'm up to the next stage on is actually not something that's a published pattern, and it's not something that we've done on Facebook before. I think I've shown it to you once. It's actually one of the projects that we're doing in A Quilter's Life, and there's something I'm about to do tonight, or on it next, before I go back to the club, which I thought I'd actually share with you as well, and that's actually adding some display loops to one of the projects we've been working on. So this one that's up here on the wall, again, if you've only recently joined A Quilter's Life, go back, when was it? Not November last year, but the one before, so 2023. I made this in 5 days for the North of the Yarra Quilters Guild show. And we went through these techniques, and then we had a lovely time last Sunday doing these as well with the girls that came for the Golden Bag workshop. So these are done with cork, and there's reverse applique and stuff on the, anyway, it's in the club, you can have a look. But what I wanted to do with this project, well, there were two things. I wanted this curved edge, I wanted to put loops on the top, and I didn't want to have the binding showing on the front. So with this particular project, the binding, and you can just see it here, the contrast, the binding goes all the way to the back, so I only needed a narrower binding. And with this particular one, I cut the binding on the bias so that it had that give, so it would go around these curves. Well, that's a bit arty. Look, I've written my name on a spare bit of cork. I could have used that cork. I can't believe I did that. But so you can see it goes round on all the curves. And then up the top here, if I just fold that back, the great thing about taking your binding all the way to the back, of course, is that you can insert things that will sit on the outer edge. Now, I've seen many fantastic quilts where people have actually incorporated flower petals. The classic, of course, is a folded handkerchief triangle out on the outer edges. You can have so much fun putting different things into the edging, frills, all sorts of things. But in this case, it was just a case of wanting to get in these simple loops to hang. So I'm doing that tonight I'm starting that tonight with this one that we've done in A Quilter's Life. So if you are just watching for the first time, this is A Quilter's Life, which is our $10 a month club that you can come and go from as you please. There's no terms or anything on it, and you just sign up at aquilterslife.podia.com. So this is the one that we've been working on this year, and we're up to the final bit of binding it. So I want to add in some loops here across the top, and I've got my binding already cut here to do it. So because it's all going all the way to the back, I've only needed to cut I wanted mine really fine. You can go a lot thicker than that, but I've just cut this at 1 1/4, so it's folded down to 3/4 of an inch wide, and then I can take it all the way to the back. So I'll just bring this over here. Everything's very white and light tonight, isn't it? There we go. So if I bring it over here, I can show you. So this is going to go on here, and then when I sew it on, it will go all the way to the back. Okay, so move that camera down a little bit. There we go, all the way to the back. So I've started my loops that I want to put on across the top, and I've got those over on the, I've got a long strip over on the sewing machine at the moment. So we'll just finish this off, and then I'll show you a couple of these loops as an example. I cut this piece 4.5 inches wide. I've left a needle. I've left a needle sitting on my sewing machine as well. sitting over here. See this? Because, see that? I just wanted to mention what I did today. Taking a bit of a laugh at myself. So I'll tell you in a tick. So this is 4.5, so you fold it over and the seam allowances will come in. So when it's all done and dusted, this will be 2 inches wide as a loop. Oh, I killed the automatic cutting blade on my machine in my studio too. I'm really annoyed. So it's going off to the Sewing Bee Cafe at Baxter for a service in a couple of weeks. Okay, I was having trouble with tension on my machine today, and I couldn't work out, well, this afternoon, I couldn't work out what was going on. And then I remembered that I had left in, from doing some other work, a 100 needle. But to be absolutely sure, I took the needle out and I was trying to read it. Have you got that problem? The writing on here is so fine, and a lot of people say, I can't see the size. Okay, here's what you do. You put your phone on camera and you take a picture of your needle. Here's my phone. Can you see that? I think you can. And then you just blow up the picture so it's big enough, and then you can actually read what size it is. So you can do that with any needles. You know how they all come with those little teeny weeny numbers or whatever on them. So just keep that in mind. Whenever you get stuck reading something and you haven't got your glasses or it's too fine to see, just get the phone, take a photo and enlarge it. That is just the simplest thing to do. Now, this is my 100. And on the side of these bananas, you might have one on your machine as well, there is a magnet where your stylus usually hangs, and I don't use my stylus, but I love putting my needles there so I know where they are. Right, now with this piece, I need to give it a quick iron, so we'll pop this up on here. And we're not going to do the whole thing tonight, but we'll just do one. I don't want a huge loop, but I probably want, I don't know, what do you think? Something about that big, so that there's enough for the seam allowance and enough to hang over a nice, probably brass gold rod for Christmas. So what's that? That's 4.5 doubled over, so that's actually 9 inches, and that will work really well because I'll easily get those 9 out of a width of my fabric. I'll just cut this down. There we go. And I'll save all of that to do the other ones. One thing that I always used to make a mistake on was I would try and evenly space out all of my loops, but have them sort of closer into the middle, and I've learned over time you do actually need to have one out, sort of out on the edge out here. So I'm going to position my first one right here, so it lines up with the quilt in the middle, or the panel in the middle. So I'm just going to turn this right side out. Actually, no, we're not first, are we? No. We need to flatten out this seam a little bit, because I do love to have that seam at the back. So I'm just going to pop that there, open this up. Thank you also to everyone that inquired about the spare ticket that we had for the escape next weekend. I advertised it on Facebook, and then I actually ended up with 2. And so now, but I have filled both those spots, so thank you. And if you did want to come next time, I will let you know that will be opening up bookings for the winter one, I think at about 2 p.m. at the next week's escape, which is a very cheeky thing to do, but we thought we would do that for those that are there and give you a little bit of information about it. So that will go on sale next week on the Saturday. I think it's about 2 p.m. I will confirm that up with you next week. Okay, so now I've got that seam right down there, right down the middle, and so when I turn it over like that, then you can't see that seam inside. All right, so we come back over. Cheryl, we're looking forward to seeing you next weekend too. What can I say? It's going to be great. Good evening, Lorraine. I hope you're really well. Judy Vermeulen is coming next weekend, and she is also watching. I can see her. All right, so that's going to go there. Now, we'll just have a little bit of a look here. I think if one goes here and one goes here, then what I will do, once I've got those positioned, I'll come in and evenly mark and put 2 more, yeah, in across there. But for now, we're going to get this one. Actually, I'm going to do this end because then I can sort of start off my binding about here. Now, usually we like to hide our binding somewhere down the bottom, but a lot of the time when we hang these things at Christmas, they end up, they're not smack in your face a lot of the time. They'll be higher up, because a lot of the time we'll take down a larger quilt and hang this in its place. And so I know where this one's going to go, and I'm pretty much going to have the bottom of the quilt at nose level. So for me, it's much better to hide that little binding seam up the top. So always have a think about that. Sometimes you might be better off putting it up the top, not down the bottom of your quilt. Will we just pop a couple of pegs in this, do you think? Now, of course, besides, there are other things on, you know, besides the Creative Escape. I mean, there's football, there's a whole heap of other major things, but probably one of the most important things would be the gathering at the St John's Quilters at Cranbourne next weekend. And Margaret and I will be there. So if you want any more information on it, if you live nearby or you think you'd like to go, then please contact me at info@Chandler's Cottage and I can pass you on the information. I don't know if they're sold out or not yet. I think it's through Try Booking as well. But if you are going to be there next weekend, well, I look forward to seeing you there as well. There we go. So I think I'll start probably just about here. So I'll peg that on. I don't usually, I'll be honest, I don't usually peg a lot of my binding. I'm a bit naughty, and I should, so that it doesn't stretch. There we go. So can you see that okay? So I've just started it here. I'm going to leave a little gap because I'll come back and join it with the other end when I've been right round. So I'm just going to come down here and I'll run over where that loop's sitting out to the edge. Now when I'm doing binding like this and it's all going all the way to the edge, I still do my little up and down like that. That wasn't really great for you, was it? I'll do it over on the machine. So we take it up and then we take it down. And then that will fold over nicely onto the back. Anyway, we'll head over to the machine and we'll just sew this bit. Now when I head over, are you all screaming at me, Leesa? Stick your walking foot on, stick your walking foot on, and I will. Put it on now. Who said that? I'm just looking at who said what and where. Oh, Chris, you're coming next weekend. I will see you there. See? It's all going to be great. What a busy month, heavens. Right, walking foot is going on. I'll take this off. Glasses on. Now you know that I struggle putting this on, don't I? Sitting down like this with the lights. Let's see how we go tonight. There, got it. Oh no, it knows I've changed feet. There we go. I'm just going to say, based on personal experience, if you do have a machine that has an automatic thread cutter, you do need to clean them regularly. Please do get the manual out and get it cleaned. But if it starts to play up a bit, it's a knife. They go blunt, and I use mine a lot. So it's been 2 years since I had my machine serviced, and so it is of no surprise to me that I need a new blade. So just keep that in mind, because sometimes what can happen if your blade starts to become blunt, it can mess a little bit. So instead of chopping cleanly, it'll sort of half chop and it'll press the thread back into the mechanism. So if it starts playing up, best not to use it. You can still use your finishing stitch, but a new blade does not take long for a serviceman to put on for you. And you might, if you're due for a service, well, it's a good thing to get done at the same time. But usually it's a quick fix. I remember Tim used to change them really quickly. I'm now walking footing because I've got my batting in here, but it's not very thick, so I'm not going to change my tension to what I would usually do for quilting if I had a wool batting or something in. I'm just going to run with it. It's like this is like a felted, is that the word? Yeah, a felted Helen, I suppose. My goodness, how well does that run with the proper needle in it? Okay, I'm going over that loop now. And we'll stop at the 1/4 inch mark, do a little finishing stitch and cut it off. And then I will do this corner the way that we usually do our mitered corners. So I will take it up, or folded corners. I will take it up in the fold like that, and then I will bring it down over the top. We'll be covering machine quilting techniques in A Quilter's Life, and there's also a brewing machine quilting class here in July, maybe late June. I'll see how I go. And then that will just keep doing down there. Now I actually haven't, I've got a long bit here, but it's nowhere near long enough to go all the way around the machine. But I do find now, I don't try and get it all on at the same time. I can wind it up and clip it with a Wonderful clip so it doesn't get in the way, but I tend to put on, maybe half of it, and then when I need it, then I'll sew on the next bit, rather than having it all falling around my feet and having Ginny playing with it. So that's all on. Now what will happen is I'll take this up, and then I will fold it all the way to the back. So that will be my nice narrow binding at the back, and then my loop sits up right on the edge of that seam. So it's the simplest of things. You can see mine's really super narrow. You could make it a bit bigger, but that will just fold over like that, and I'll give it a really good press. I will wonder clip it. And just hold it there, and then I can go around and slip stitch it. So that's the narrowest that I would go. That's 1 1/4. That comes down to 3/4. But if you wanted to, you could make it a little bit wider. It just depends on the look that you're after. But as you can see, when I get down to here, then I've got that lovely loop sitting out right on the edge. I always wanted to do something like a ragdoll or a teddy bear quilt where all the little teddy bears or the elves for Christmas or something are all sitting along the bottom row of the quilt, and then and then they would all be sitting, and then all their little legs would dangle from the edge of the quilt. It'll happen one day. I'm not sure when, but it will happen. There you go. So there's up to my corner. Okay. So I need to finish this off for my team that have been working on it with me, and then we'll be able to be really smug and pop that in the cupboard ready for Christmas. But I will give it an airing also next weekend at the Creative Escape so you can see it. So that's my deadline to get that done. I'm just going to pop this out of the way. Now with Midnight Melba, what I wanted to do tonight was focus on another section of the quilt, which is this bit here. I'm going to work on this bit. And this is again Emma, Extreme Fussy Cutting. I've made this section myself before. Evening, Meg. Inside the wall hangings, as in the batting. Sorry, Kayleen, for batting. It's a small project, whatever you've got laying around, really. I've put an iron-on Pellin behind mine. The adhesive, if you're happy to use it, or if you've got some 640 or 630, Kayleen, is really, I've put it away now, is really good to use, particularly with that project. Hang on, I'll grab it again. Because I did a lot of, remember we did a lot of scrappy piecing. I'll just hold this up for you. See all the piecing? So that was using up lots of bits and bobs left over in my sewing room, and I encourage everyone to try and do the same to do a nice scrappy background. So with all of that, you've got a fair bit of movement. We do in all our heavily pieced quilts. But I just thought, because we're going to put all that heavy applique and stuff over the top, it'd be really nice to use an adhesive batting in there, because it helps stabilise that background before you put everything over the top. So that's what I would suggest. And let's face it, it's a Christmas wall hanging. It's not going to get that dirty or dusty unless someone walks down the hallway and kind of, you know, trips and spills wine all over it. Heaven forbid. But it's not going to see that much action. So I think the poly is fine. It's not going to keep us warm at night anyway. So I think for a wall hanging, the poly is not a bad idea. It doesn't have any memory, remember. So it's not like a cotton or a wool that when you crease it, it doesn't pop straight back into shape straight away. So I think it's probably a good option to use. Anyway, if you want to see what it looks like on the website, if you put in H640, that will bring up the Pellin that is really good to use inside, I think. But again, to me, that was all about using up scraps. So see what you've got that you want to use. Now, with this section here, this comes from, here's one I prepared earlier. This comes from the large border, and it's quite a fun thing to have a look at, because even to use this perhaps in another project, in terms of the techniques that Emma did, are probably worth having a look at. So, good evening, Angela. How are we? This little piece here is what we need to make first, and this comes from, and this sits here on the quilt. So there's actually 4 of them. So I'm going to start my next one tonight to show you, okay? And it creates this amazing effect. So you've got this one happening in here. We played with our checkerboard, our middle. We've had a play with our little row of sturt peas as well. So it's sort of, you've got a square this way and then a square on point as well. And then it goes back out on the square again. So let's have a look at this bit. Emma has fussy cut the center of this piece from the large border. Now, if you are making the quilt, if you think back at the start, we cut that great big long piece in half, and then we cut down each of the individual sections of my Melba border print to use with it. We're going to go back tonight and actually use the large Waratah border and also the medium one. So there's a fair bit we're going to go through to make this next section. So to get to this part here, pull out your big border. And I will admit, I had a little bit of a play today because for me, I want to keep as many little bits and pieces left over from making this to do some little scrappy English paper piecing for some cushions and things for the exhibition as well that we've got happening from, what is it? I'm asking you, sorry. The 12th to the 14th of September, the Farewell Melba exhibition, down at the hall where we have our creative escapes. So I'm sort of trying to save some of my little pieces. Now, just to take you back, this fabric, it was like under the Australian sun. There are some decisions that are made along the course of designing a fabric. Now, and I've discussed this with Jason, because he said, you're mad, you've had the same fabric running for 10 years. And I said, oh, well, let's not discuss the other one that's been running for 15. But when a fabric range comes and goes, it's quite easy to move on and forget the things that you weren't happy about, which I did with Dutch and probably Indian as well. But when you're stuck with a fabric for so long, there are things that really bug you. Now, I fixed them with Under the Australian Sun because when Rob and I started printing ourselves, I went back and redid some of the prints and I fixed some of the things that were bothering me. Look at this. Can you see this center leaf down here? It is not symmetrical. Now, I think Evie talked me into that and I don't know why, but everything else is dead straight, but this leaf is not. And I spend my whole life trying to straighten it up, but it is actually a little bit on a curve. That will come into play in a minute. So I've given this a little iron and I had a little bit of a play to do this particular shape up here. You'll want to cut just on the outside of the grevillea on either side. So I'm going to have this Waratah left and this one left, and that's absolutely fine with me because I know exactly what I'm going to do with them. So I'm going to make it easier to work with. I'm going to trim this down. Cheryl, good evening. I'm so glad you made it though. That's super. So I'm just going to trim this off here, just past the grevillea, and he's going to go in my little scrap box. And then I'll do the same over here. Fold that piece up, pop that out of the way. Now remember, you've got great big long pieces, so you'll have ample, absolutely ample of what you have to work with. Now the fun thing is tonight, I found a shortcut. And I'm really happy I found a shortcut. Now, Emma has laid this out for you. I'm actually working, if you've got your pattern, down here on the bottom of page 5. So, I'm going to do things another way around. Different to the pattern. We're in setting triangles. Em talks about cutting the pieces that you need to cut and prepare for this bit first, but I'm going to come back to those in a minute. I'm a bit excited about the shortcut. So what Emma has asked you to do is take this piece, well, we need to do this bit first, and trim it down. Oh, I've got to go this way for me because I'm a lefty. So that you've got, no I don't, so that you've got 3/4 of an inch above the Waratahs. Now that's not going to be taking off much at all. You can see it's literally just straightening up and trimming down this edge here. So I'm going to do that. And then she said, would you please, I think it says please, I'm going to turn mine around, and I need to cut this down to 6 3/4. So you can see with the amount of trimming and flipping and everything, it's much easier to work with a smaller piece than trying to do it all in one go. Ha, Catherine, I know. I could get you out all of the errors. I could show you there's way more than this one I'm not happy with. Way more. So many things. But maybe I'll put them in a little monologue for the exhibition. Things we're not happy with, Melba. And you know what though? It is really important and humbling to find them all, but it's also a learning curve because this is the only stylized collection that I have, that I've done. Everything else has a little bit of asymmetrical element to it. I think in border prints anyway. There was symmetrical stuff in Dutch Cottage and in Anastasia and things, but in terms of border prints, and it's so important to sort of work out what I like and what I don't like now, because this layout for Melba I'm actually using for Cultural Influence Elizabeth, which will be my UK collection. I think it's late next year or early 2027. I'm working a long way ahead. And to reuse this template we had with Melba and turn it into thistles and Tudor roses and Celtic knots and all of that, it's going to be really good fun, but I need to understand the boo-boos from this time. Now we're now going to trim this whole width down into 6 3/4. Okay. See, do we keep this bit? No. Maybe. Yeah, right. Chuck it over there. And now we've sort of got this funny looking little short stack piece here. Now, what Em has asked us to do is actually lay, she said, with a big ruler. With a big ruler? Well, a ruler that's big enough. Our 45-degree line on our ruler. So can you, oh, you've got reflection off my big lights. Hang on, let me move that down. Is that a bit better? Sorry about that. It's the shiny ruler. So there's a 45-degree line here. Hang on. A 45-degree line here on the ruler. There you go. And I'm positioning that right down the middle of the waratah, and it should be down the middle of the leaf. Kinks off to that side. And then Em gets you to trim up this way, and then you reverse it all around and trim up that way to create your triangle with the waratah in the middle. This is what I did. I folded it in half. Now if you're a little bit worried about it moving, give it a little press. So I'm making sure that I'm sitting right in the middle of that top little bump petal on the waratah head. And as you can see, I can't get my leaf point in the middle down the other end because he kinks off to the left. If I ever get back to LA, and if I ever get dinner with Evie, I so would go all that way for dinner with Evie, who ran the design department at Kaufman. I so would. We're going to have a discussion about that leaf. And she'll just laugh and go, well, you know, and I'm like, Okay, so now that this is all folded, I can do it all in one hit, all right? So I just need to sit my ruler over the top. And I do love this. Can you see this? I've actually got a right angle with my 45 marked on the ruler. How great is that? So I can actually line it up with a line on the board and just be, that's lined up with a line on the board. So super accurate, straight across here. Maybe I should have tagged the Creative Grids rulers tonight. What do? Then I didn't have the right one on it. You go by, what would you put in? Grids. You just put in grids. There we go. And it would bring up all the Creative Grids rulers. That's there. That's there. There we go. Straight through. And that gives us our triangle. Now Em's put in the measurements for you so you can double check. She should be, oh phew, it is 13.5 across there, and these short sides are 9.5. Okay, out to there. So that's the triangle you're looking for. So these will go in my scrap basket. So you can do it M's way, do them one at a time, but if you game, just fold in half and you'll get there. Now I've got some of my other pieces here. So next we put on 2 sashing strips, and these will actually run over. They won't go exactly to this point. They actually overshoot, so that when they fold back later on we can trim them back. So we do need them to go that extra bit. And if you remember, Emma suggested, which was great, to always run with your edge that's been cut on the bias actually underneath, because it will pull the feed dogs on the teeth on your machine, will pull it through evenly. But of course, you know, my tip, which I love, is to have a roll of the 1/4 inch tape, quilter's tape handy. And this just takes all of that guesswork out. Now, I will admit, it means you don't have to pin as much, because these edges, when they're cut on the bias, you do need to show them some respect. And pin them a lot more. But if you stick your tape on, so this is quilter's tape. You see that? So that gives you your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and it also holds everything steady. Nothing's going to give and stretch now on that bias edge. So I'm just going to pop, no I'm not, no pins. Oh, I had them up on the other bench, that's my bad. That's alright, we'll just use a couple of pegs. So many pin cushions and no pins. I'm really happy with that. Gorgeous little, I just love that little cute pumpkin pin cushion that Diana designed. And I can see myself making quite a few more. And then maybe, I've got some olive green linen here, and I'm thinking I might make some up as pairs as well. We'll just do that. It might have been better with pins, folks, but I'll use what's at hand. So we'll pop this one on. Oh look, I'm going to leave my walking foot on as well, because I haven't changed the tension. Oh, it's still on 3 though. Let's strip that right down to 2.4, because we're now piecing. So I can just sit my needle right on the edge of the tape, and I can have my bias edge on the top because it's stabilised with the tape. So we'll take the tape off. And I'm going to stick that on the edge of my table because I can reuse it. Emma has suggested to iron your seam allowance towards the middle, and I don't think that's based, sorry, in towards the triangle. I don't think that's based on colour. I'm not sure, but I'm going to follow what she's said for now, just in case. Okay, and then we'll go the other way. So we'll flip, put my tape back on, and then we have longer strips to go down the other side, and that's not one of them, it's this one. There we go. Come on, let's wing it without the pins or the clips. what's going to happen if I pin this, that little sashing strips being a bit cheeky, I'm trying to pop out. And I should note too, Emma will be at the exhibition in September. It was imperative to me that she be there because she helped me sew and design so many projects for Melba, and she was there when we launched it 10 years ago. And so she will be there for the exhibition. So if you haven't met Em, then you will be delighted, and she will be there. So that will be lovely. And as is tradition, before the exhibition, we will be down there with the teacups. It's a teacup thing, and we lay a teacup in the position where all of the quilt stand bases go, so that we get a layout for the exhibition perfect and measure it all up. And we are very, very fortunate that the Lang Lang Quilt Committee are loaning us their fantastic quilt stands for the exhibition. So we're very, very lucky they're doing that, and also dye pattern. Hopefully we're lending us some as well from Bunyip. So very, very lucky. We feel very loved. There you go. So that is my second triangle done. Now we're going to leave these pieces on for now. All right, and then we're going to move on and we'll get ready the mitered medium border that goes on next. I'm going to turn over this page. Okay, so I really needed a lot more room than I've got here, but that's all right. Now you've got these. We don't need to trim these down in terms of their height, but you've got lovely long pieces of your medium border strip. And what you need to do with each of these is create pairs of strips that, what do I say, they mirror image each other in the middle. So for example, if I was to cut here, I would have two pieces that meet in the middle, and they actually mirror image each other. And that's because of this particular design. So you need to cut two pieces that are 25 inches long. So you'll need to get out your long tape measure and your long ruler, and perhaps use one and butt it up against the next one, sort of thing. But you need a piece that is 25 inches long, which is about there. So if I was to cut here, and this is 25 inches long, I need the other side of it to be 25 inches long as well, okay? You've got really nice little diagrams again and pictures in your pattern. And this is one of 4, remember, because you start with the 5 meters, cut it into 2.5, and there's a mirror image of the border on the fold on this particular design. So you'll get 2 mediums and 2 mediums. So you'll actually get 4 2.5 meter long pieces. So you've got plenty to work with to get these 4 pairs of mirror images. And again, you're going to have a lot left over, and we need to look at some of the projects that we can make with our leftovers between now and the middle of September for the exhibition. These are the 2, and you know the saying that I prepared earlier. So I'm going to lay these out for you so you can see. And I was talking on the phone when I shouldn't have been, so I have more marks up here than I should, but I'll explain in a minute. So you can see here I've got my 2 big long pieces, and they're both 25, and you can see here this is my mirror cut in the middle. So I've literally split, and we're going to separate and use them like this. So what we do is we need to measure 6 and there's 2 measurements in here. 6 1/4 in from this end, which is my little mark that's there. I'm going to make it a little bit darker for you so you can see it. So we need to mark there. And then, it's so clever, I can't believe she worked all this out. And then you also mark at 17 3/4. Now this just did not make sense to me at all when I was first reading the draft. Now it does. So what we do, can you see this? Look at that. This strip that we have joined on here, that fits perfectly between these two marks. Amazing. You're going to have to bear with me for a tick because we really, really do need pins, and they're over here. Just one second. Found them. Okay. So we'll pin this in here. All of this is cut on the straight grain, but I do want to just pin this nicely to head back to the machine. Okay, so if you don't want to watch the whole thing again, this is a good moment just to take a screenshot of that with your phone or whatever you want to do so that you've got it. But this will be going up in YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So hello to everyone watching on YouTube, and it will go under the Midnight Melba section. So there's all different sections on there that you can have a look at, but it will be under Midnight Melba. What is this foot I've put on? Oh, that one. Okay. Right, so we're going to take this over now to the machine, and we're going to sew in 1/4 inch from this bottom corner here. I'm pretty sure that's right. Stitch from the 1/4 inch out. Yep, got it. Press to the dark side. She always does that. So sinister, isn't it? Alright, we'll go and sew this. Whoops. So we need to leave this 1/4 inch open here. There's something really nice about speed sewing, isn't there? I'm not very good at the in-between bit. I love slow sewing, like slow needle turn, running stitch, and high speed on machine. Now at this end, we can run all the way to the edge. Okay, so you start to get an idea now of what this is all going to look like. And Em and I are facing our flowers inwards, but it's personal preference, yeah? You could also face them outwards the other way. So it's up to you, but we've decided to go inwards with ours. So that one's on that side, and now we need to do exactly the same with the other side. So this piece, just get your whereabouts, is going to go this way, and now we need to mark this piece as well. So I've got to mark it at the 6 1/4 out this side. You know, there was absolutely no question about this being an A4 sized pattern in terms of the cover, but because I could just see that we would spend all of our time looking at the picture all the way through. Okay, so now again, I'm just going to I'm going to put that over there, and then I'm going to flip the whole thing. Just find a bit for this Molly Duca to feel comfortable. So that's going to go there to there. Oh, I haven't pressed this seam. My apologies. Are you all kind of tapping on the screen trying to get my attention? Sorry. I think we will press to the dark side again. Here. Just jumping ahead, we have another big open day here on the 30th of November, and this quilt, if you don't make it to the exhibition, this quilt will be on display on a bed back here. Oh, now I've done that, I've lost my... Flip the whole thing over and then turn around. There we go. So I have a personal, fun deadline to look forward to, because I want this on display in a bedroom scene. So it will go to the exhibition, and then it will be also here on the 30th. So that's got to come down all the way down to there, and we are going to stop this little intersection here. So I just want to check, am I happy that that goes? Or I might need to give a little bit of persuasion there. Just a little bit. There we go, that's fine now. Just give this all a pin. Who's here? Good evening, Tracy Pye. I can see you're watching. Pauline Boyke's not asleep yet. What a rude thing to say. I swear this is probably like watching an old Midsummer Murders for the 3rd time, and you're only sticking up with it and trying not to fall asleep because you've forgotten who did it. There you go. Alright, so we'll take this back to the machine, and then we are nearly there for tonight. This sort of technique's so fun and clever that my brain's starting to think about what else we could do with it, besides waiting until we do the English collection, which will follow the same pattern, dimensions. Did you see that? Oh, I've had to let that corner go a bit. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, so when I get up to this little point here, it's where the other one comes in from the other side. So I need to make sure that we again stop at that 1/4 inch seam allowance, which is right there, I think. I'd rather stop a little bit short than go over. And here you can start to see the effect we're going to get. So we'll just give it a quick iron. It's not that one, is it? It is that one. Now, we need this to go into the dark side again. And this is where it might be advantageous to actually follow Emma's pattern because of this mitre. So, if I flip this over, we're going to lay one down flat like this. And then here's our other one that will fold over the top like that. I've got a little bump there. So I will need to have a little play with these seams to be absolutely sure that I am happy with the way that I've got them folded. So I'm just going to fold this down for you now so we can just have a little look at this little seam that's going to come into play here. And you can see, you sort of get to this point and you go, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. It will work, it's just a case of having a little play. Come on mate, out you go. I need to do it the way that Emma does it. If I fold them both down like that and give them a press first, and let's do it from the back. So fold them both up, take one down to our right angle like that, and the other one down like that. I would say that mine are out just a smidge, maybe. There we go. Can you see that? Oh! What happened? Why did you disappear? Oh, one of my... Oh, it went flat. Why is the overhead not on? Sorry, my camera went flat. That's a bit of a worry, isn't it? Rob's about to run out here in a real hurry, isn't he? Because he couldn't see what was going on. So sorry. So sorry. I was so... Well, you didn't see me fiddling now. I wonder why that's gone flat. Sorry, I'm following the leads. I don't know, but we will find it before Sunday morning. Okay, sorry. We all went dark. Did you think I'd gone to bed? Here you go. All right, so all I was doing was having a little play. It's not like the lights were on and there's nowhere on home. It was like the opposite. Okay, I'm going to give these a press. Here he comes. Wellby, the overhead went nanas. Do you like that technical term? The girls can't scream at me. I don't know. Something's unplugged anyway. Anyway, I'm nearly done, so we'll manage without. So if I flip this back over, you can see this is what my mitre is going to look like. Now it looks very different to the one on the wall because I have obviously cut my border at a different spot to what Emma did. But that is how it's going to look. Now what I will do from here, and this will take me a little while to pin it all up, and I'm just not going to make us all fall asleep tonight. So what will happen now is I'm going to fold it back and I will carefully trim these back to a 1/4 inch seam, and then I will sew them together. All right, now Em's given you really good instructions on how to do all of this in the pattern. You know how I was just talking before about which is the best way to fold this seam? and she said to fold to the dark side. If you are on the light one, I just wanted to reassure you, even if you still fold towards your light, and you can see here I've decided to go back, so I'm going to fold towards my border pieces even though they're not dark. Rob, not now. Peripheral vision, mate. I'm trying to work, and how he's literally got his head stuck through a ring light. So I think these are going to sit better if we do stick with the way Emma said it. To her, that's to the dark side. To me, it's towards my border stripe, okay? So that's going to work better. I'm going to trim these back to a 1/4 inch seam allowance and then sew them together. And that's going to give me a lovely little mirror image. When you pin these together, remember, just as we did the center originally, which is this one. Oh no, I haven't got it here. The center of the quilt. This bit in here. Pin these really well so that you're literally pinning through all these little different motif design pieces down through here, and make sure that they all match up, and you're going to enjoy that. So much joy when you've got them all beautifully matched together. So let's inspect Emma, shall we? No, let's not. Hers are absolutely perfect. Well, there's 4 corners. I'll go and check the other ones out when I've said goodbye to you. Anyway, that's what we're going to do to get these done. So then you'll have your center, your checkerboard, sturt piece, and this section, and then it's all going to come together. Now, for some of you, when we started printing, everything was right, but I just wanted to change the layout a little bit. And what's actually happened with some of the patterns that we have sent out, and we know who you've got them all, there are about 3 little steps to finish these off and add them onto the quilt that, for want of a better term, dropped off the edge of the earth. What's really amazing though is a lot of you, like, I've seen 4 finished quilts and you haven't missed them, so you must have just finished these and stuck them straight on. But there is a couple little hints and things from Em on attaching these onto the quilt. So if you have got your pattern and or your kit, you'll get a little email from us over the next 2 or 3 days, and I will give them to you. I don't think they're going to make that much difference to you, but I am going to send them through to you, and they'll come through by email. Judy, you're picking up your kit next weekend. It'll already be in your pattern for you. All right, so that is it. Now these get sewn onto the quilt, just like great big corners, opposite sides, and then the other 2 go on. And then we'll be up to this next section, which are huge, huge mitered corners with all of our sturt desert pea, and yet another one of these fussy cut waratahs to go on. But you know what? Once that's done, we are there. We're there and putting on the outer border, which is really exciting. All right, so that's it from me for this evening. Did I miss anything? I don't know. Oh yeah, I know, I turned the lights back on. Carol Newton is in Italy. Does anyone want to place an order? What do I need? Prosciutto. Anyway, I'll send you an order. Thanks. Thanks, Carol. Janice and Rita, Bobby, Joe, Wendy, Gail, thank you so much for joining us. Joe, did you see that lovely picture of you and Nancy Mann on A Quilter's Life? It's a very nice photo of the 2 of you I popped up today. Kayleen, thank you for joining us. Mary, good evening. Yes, I had gone, Liz, but now I'm back. I'm just sorry, everybody. Yolanda, hello, welcome. It's so lovely to see you joined us. Yes, I did go to the dark side, but only for a short time. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Tracy Pye, hello from Seaford in England. Thanks, Trace. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week, won't you? Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning. We'll see what I come up with for Sunday morning. It's pretty tight timing-wise here at the moment, but I do have a few things I want to share with you on Sunday. So I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, please just email me at info@chandlerscottage.com, and we are open here for you to visit Thursday tomorrow and Friday from 10 till 3. All right. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.